The corruption trial of former New York Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver getting underway with jury selection this week down in Manhattan. Our legal analyst Paul Harding is here from Martin Harding Mazzotti. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
So, I mean, it's a complicated case, is it not?
It is if it's as deep as you want to go in this. I mean, it really goes to the heart of did Sheldon Silver, give political favor and then get money in return? I mean, that's sort of the Reader's Digest version. But sure, there's a lot going on.
Now, I guess from looking at what the defense is saying, I just get a whiff of some of the defense, and again, I'm really, boiling this down, is basically like, this is just the way business is done in Albany, and he was just a working lawyer, and he really didn't do anything wrong.
Sure. That is their defense. The issue with that is going to be is that he's sort of at the top of the food chain, not just a assemblyman or a senator who was kind of following the protocol that was existing in Albany. He was sort of setting that protocol. And lawyers can get referral fees, so that's not the issue. You can refer a case, and you can refer a client, you can get money in return upon the successful conclusion of the case. But here, what they've identified is two areas where he's referring clients to a particular law firm. He then is allegedly doing some legislative favors that are going to help that cause and then getting his referral fee.
Yeah, they had jury selection yesterday. Is this a lot of information for a jury to try to process? I mean, it is very complicated, even just from somebody reading it.
Sure is, and that's why the both attorneys, I guess, not just the prosecuting attorney, but the plaintiffs, but the defense attorneys are going to really have to boil this thing down, and they're doing it just like that. They're saying, hey, this is just the way it is in Albany. He's allowed to do that, and prosecutors are going to say, hey, look, this is something as simple as a kickback scheme, although it's not, but they're going to have to really get evidence and get the witnesses to kind of speak in plain English, because no matter how sophisticated this Manhattan jury is going to be, they're going to get hit with a lot of stuff. Speaking
to our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin Harding Mazzotti, it seems to me, as a layman, that this case is a lot stronger than the case against Joe Bruno, including, I guess, Silver actually steering like a $500,000 grant to somebody. Do you think that the case against Silver is reasonably strong?
It is, and the Bruno case never really had a whole lot going on there, but it went on forever, as you know, and then they retried them, and they just couldn't convict because the case was relatively weak. Here, they really don't want to see that happen again, so they've got a case here that they feel is strong, and I personally think the case is substantially different and stronger than it was against Bruno.
See, with the Bruno case, to me, it seemed like they were calling it a witch hunt, and they were looking for things to try to fit into a crime. This seems like, well, hey, listen, it's pretty cut and dried. This is what he did, and this is why it's illegal.
Yeah, and he's going to say, listen, these are things that I would do anyway. This was not a direct result of me recognizing that if I do this, cases will get referred to a certain law firm and I'll get a fee. This was just the best thing to do legislatively for this group. And so, sure, he has a defense, but now it does appear that he's going to have to make that defense work, that the prosecution has a strong case in chief.
He's got a great legal team, and he's got a ton of money. I mean, don't get me on that now, where he can use all his campaigns, et cetera, to defend himself. But what would you say, I know the trial hasn't even started yet. What's your gut feeling? Do you think the odds are in favor of a conviction here?
I do. I think that the odds are in favor of conviction, but again, we've got a standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. That's that criminal standard, beyond a reasonable doubt, and we've seen jurors do some unique things, even as of recent here. So there should be a conviction as to whether they get him on both and they get him on all these counts he's indicted on. And I think the client's ready for it, too. I don't think it's a situation. I think someone makes the argument that Bruno was sort of, kind of really loved in the capital region. I mean, I think there was always this theme about Joe Bruno that he was well-liked.
Yeah.
I don't sense there's that same theme happening with Sheldon Silver in New York City.
No, he's looking at up to 20 years in prison and forfeiting his assembly seat at the least. What do you think he'd actually... I mean, he's 71. I mean, he won't get the full 20 if he's convicted, do you think?
No, I don't think he'll go down that road. But, again, if he were to be convicted and to do even 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in jail, those are probably his... that would probably... nearly finish him off.
Fascinating stuff.
In prison. Yeah.
We'll check in again. We get the Skelos trial starting, and next time I want to ask you about how this whole, it's almost like the entire Albany's on trial, not just Silver. It's an interesting aspect to it. Thank you, Paul.
Good stuff. Okay, thanks, guys.
Our legal analyst, Paul Harding from Martin Harding Mazzotti.